Hello and welcome to Politics Today. I'm Farooq Bitafi. If you remember, yesterday we discussed the economic agenda of the government. Today we are not going to talk about economics, but I have a feeling that in coming days, in coming weeks and months, economics will be part of every political discussion that we have. That must be the case because in most things we see the debate is shifting to economic matters. There is talk of inflation. Then we saw PBS actually correcting its measure of taking stock of inflation. And then we have seen many other developments that are going on. But again, on one side, people talk about inflation, and then we are going for a bailout to IMF. As it happens, the situation might be further complicated. So in that situation, what exactly is going to happen? It is going to raise the political temperature. And the interesting thing at this moment is that since two major opposition parties are facing accountability, I'm talking about opposition, of course, government's own ranks are also facing it, but two major opposition parties are facing it. So there is always this chance, and people keep on speculating about it, that perhaps they are going to forge an alliance and try to take advantage of any situation that might arise. At such a moment, perhaps PTI's government could benefit from the possibility of further allies or further alliances within the opposition, because it has a very thin majority. But that doesn't seem to be happening. On the other side, Maulana Fazlur Rahman met Mian Nawaz Sharif yesterday, and after that there was this word that maybe he is going to meet Asif Ali Zardari Saab as well. So what happens after that? Are we heading towards some kind of politics of agitation or clash or conflict? And what becomes of the NAB ordinances and NAB references, and whether there's always this talk of an NRO that the government keeps saying there won't be any National Reconciliation Ordinance 2.0. So we are going to talk about all these matters and more. In order to help us understand these issues, we are joined by Dr. Zubair Ghori, senior analyst, has appeared in this program previously. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you
for being part of the program. Haider Mehdi Saab, anchor person, analyst, whatnot. I really enjoy his company all the time. Thank you very much, sir.
Very much.
And a very learned man. He is not only a barrister, he is also a PhD. Barrister Muhammad Ali Saif Saab, who is Senator of MKM. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program as well. Zubair Ghori Saab, I have to start with you, sir. And I have to ask you, how do you see this meeting of Maulana Fazlur Rahman with Mian Nawaz Sharif, sir?
Well, I don't think so. This is a very great political influence at this point in time. Ex-Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif is on bail, and perhaps he's into the third week of his bail.
Yeah.
And if everything goes as they are, if everything remains equal, he has to go back to the jail.
In a week.
Yeah, in a week or 2 weeks' time. I don't remember the correct dates. Secondly, the PMLN seems to have drawn some kind of conciliatory arrangement with those who matter, because of the situation that has been arisen in terms of the bail granted to Shehbaz Sharif.
Sorry, who matters?
The establishment.
Okay.
Okay. Or maybe
but
judiciary
it was not
is
a
showing.
verdict. No, it was not a verdict given by the judiciary, was it?
No,
it was not a verdict given by establishment, was it?
No, I'm not talking about who has given the verdict. I'm saying the environment. So they are trying to live in a conciliatory environment. They do not want to destroy it.
Okay.
Okay. So if they go to the streets, the conciliatory environment that is being conjured up for their favor will be destroyed, perhaps irreparably for this time.
Okay.
The third thing is Maulana Fazlur Rahman has no political presence at the moment in the assemblies, hardly any.
Marginal, yeah.
Hardly any. So perhaps he has got the street power. Perhaps he has got the numbers from the students from his madrasas and other allies. Perhaps he can bring that support to the streets. But when he is trying to woo Nawaz Sharif has already stated, maybe more than once, that we are not going to agitate, we are not going to bring down this government, and according to him, this government will fall down by his own weight because of his own policies, and you were talking about the price hike and the economic situation and blah, blah, blah. The second remaining thing is the PPP, which has not shown that much inclination at the moment, although they have kind of a train march from Karachi to Ladkhana.
Bilawal is very aggressive.
Yeah,
right now.
but that did not create any ripples at the national scene, for that matter. Now comes the point of the thin majority that you are saying that this government is enjoying at the moment. I think the problem is there.
Maybe not enjoying.
Yeah, probably. So the problem is here actually. They are having the support of the Balochistan party, and they may withdraw their support at this point in time. Akhtar Mengal's party. Or maybe the party in Punjab, PMLQ, they may withdraw their support from them, and then they have a problem. But Akhtar Mengal Sahab has previously just stated that we have given 1 full year to this government, that we will not question you, but after that we may question you. So you can see that until June, July, August, this government may not have. But after the budget, there will be some problems, some economic issue, there may be some other things that are erupted in the society. So, that may be a problem area.
So basically no chance of agitation.
Yeah, for the moment,
Haider Mehdi Sahab, your take on Maulana Fazlur Rahman meeting Mian Nawaz Sharif?
Thank you very much, Ji. So my view is that this is a non-starter. I honestly believe that the current government actually has no threat politically from any quarter. If it is threatened, it is actually threatened from within. I think, you know, as they say, the only thing to fear is fear itself. I think the only way this government may actually, you know, hit an axe on its own feet is themselves. So Maulana Fazlur Rahman, irrespective, and you know, he could perhaps bring an odd 100 or 200 or 300 people, although I don't think people have the appetite for that. I think the economic bomb is a real one. It's going to impact people. But contrary to what we hear in the media and people like us talk about all the time, I don't think there is going to be an explosion that is going to disrupt the government or bring it down.
You were talking about economic bomb, right? So the problem at this moment is, on one side, dollar's price is increasing, rupees shrinking. On the other side, there's talk of you know, inflation. So the common man who's earning 15,000 rupees, is he going to be happy tomorrow?
So of course not. And you know, the reality.
So no chance of agitation?
No, I don't think so. The harsh reality is that this had to happen. One can question whether you should have gone to the IMF earlier or gone to IMF later. But irrespective of whether you would have gone there 6 months earlier or now, you know, inflation had to happen, the dollar had to be depreciated, the subsidies had to be removed, the 1.3 trillion on your SOEs and the 1.4 trillion on your circular debt. These are all realities. So that's why I said we can put that into a separate box. But really what the government now has to start doing is to start delivering significant value. I mean, 7 months have gone by.
Eight
months have gone by. We must start to see some decisions which say, okay, the pattern recognition of governance is now there. Imran Khan is now well in the saddle. He's been there 8 months. He understands a bit of governance. He's able to select the right people for the right slots. Governance is going to start kicking in Punjab, which it isn't. You know, Punjab, there's a pen down by the bureaucracy. Bazaar is a huge issue. It's a question mark. Even his closest advisors say that.
And hold that thought, because you said that economic issues have to be parked on one side. And I'm going to come back to the nexus between politics and economics. But let me bring in Barrister Saab. Barrister Saab, Mian Nawaz Sharif was given a bail. It was very extraordinary circumstances. It doesn't happen, unprecedented. And then a politician is meeting a politician, a former politician is meeting a politician. Is it according to law? I mean, he can meet and they can discuss politics whenever they want to?
Well, I believe they have every right to interact among themselves. This is what politicians do for a living.
But one person is a convict now.
Well, not technically, because his appeal is now pending. And until the High Court decides against him, and then he is also convicted by the Supreme Court, till that time that conviction is in a state of suspension.
Okay.
So you cannot call him, legally cannot call him a convict, but he is an under trial or a person whose appeal is in process.
And a person who was incarcerated until now.
Yeah, that is absolutely clear. But that doesn't bar him from meeting other politicians, and Maulana Fazlur Rahman or any other politician has has a right to meet, number one. Number two, it's their political strategy. Interacting with parties in opposition, that's what the opposition is supposed to be doing, number one. I do not foresee any drastic change in the opposition's tactics or in their overall strategy against the government at the moment through these meetings.
Why?
Because I think they are gearing up. All the opposition, the main parties are, if you look at People's Party, PMLN, and ABCD, other parties, they're all fragmented at the moment. They all have their own headaches and issues to handle. So it is difficult in the existing circumstances or in the existing scenario to at least forge an alliance in order to threaten the government to that extent. So of course there is talk, there are meetings, but I don't see any all these efforts materializing into a solid street agitation, number one, which could be a threat to the government.
And you agree with this perception, there is no appetite among people?
I don't know about people, because my understanding is that whenever there is agitation, public agitation, my understanding of politics is that it is never the general public. Very tiny fraction or very minimum fraction of people usually come out on the streets, unless it's a big issue like some religious or some other
not
scenario.
economic.
Yeah, but on political agitation waged by parties, I believe is just their workers who are mobilized and who are organized enough to be brought out on the street and agitate. And I think that the religious parties, Jamaat Islami, Jamiat Ulama Islam, Maulana Fazlur Rahman, and ANP also, I think they have the muscle to at least bring out people. And for political agitation across the country, you don't need 1 or 200 million people to come out on the streets. All you need is just probably 100,000, 80,000 people all over the country, and they can create ripples in the political,
as it has happened in the past.
So it usually happens. It's just the proper engineering and maneuvering by their leadership as to how to utilize their manpower effectively. With small numbers, they can even create problems for the government. But having said all this, I believe the problem is not in the opposition. The threat is not there. And I believe with Mehdi Saab, it's the government itself which is threatened by its own allies. I think BNP Mangal, although an ally, is not very happy. They're not satisfied with what is happening. MQM, maybe, yes. We have been given the Hyderabad University, so for a few weeks,
are you happy with that?
With that lollipop, we are happy. But I don't.
You call it lollipop?
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, come on, it is education.
Let's see how it materializes, how it goes ahead. But the problem is, I personally believe that the economic problems confronted by the government have been exacerbated by the lack of political engineering by the government. I don't think they are able to or understand the niceties and the machinations of power politics. They are good at annoying their supporters and making their enemies even more angry.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that?
Because I think that if you look at the overall scenario, I don't think that the present government has created more friends. I mean, in the process in the last 9 months, they've created more animosity and more hatred and more what you call it opposition to for themselves rather than pacifying people.
Is it not the curse of holding power that you create more jealousies, estrange people?
The best option is to, rather than create animosity and a hatred, is to try to divide your opposition and then exploit that division towards your to your advantage, but they are not doing that.
And here's the problem: the government says that if they approach the opposition, they demand an NRO, and that becomes a problem.
But that is the
you want to add, sir?
I would just to the Barrister Saab, Senator Saab's point about the creating the enemies. Part of coming into power is actually reconciliation. Now that doesn't mean that you reconcile with crooks, but it also doesn't mean that you pick up a double-barrel gun and you come into the forest and you fire at 3 vultures and you scare away everybody else in the forest. They've scared businessmen. They've scared the bureaucracy.
Have they?
Oh,
How?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you know,
I qualify at that point. So, how have they scared of the businessmen?
Yeah, look at your stock market.
so
No, I'm not talking about stock.
No.
Talk about businessmen.
So yeah, so
human beings.
So human beings need confidence. You know, there's an old adage about businessmen. They say, you know, if you hold your hand out and put a little bit of, you know, seed in it, you know, they will come.
Yeah.
But if you do this, you know, they all fly away. You know, the mini reform budget that came in January was a very good budget, right?
Yeah.
It was an excellent budget. They did everything right, the right kind of approach. Now, 90 days have passed. It has started to kick in. You can see the deficit come down. But the business community does not still have that level of confidence that they're going to come out and they're going to say, all right, you know, this is the way ahead and let's put all our money. That's one. The other thing is, you don't need an opposition-like approach by a senior government functionary who is responsible for charting the narrative of the government to keep on abusing and shouting from the pulpit every third day or the fourth day.
Why not?
Because you create enemies, and that's exactly what I'm saying.
No, but
you can listen.
hang on. We are talking about power politics.
Let me finish. The
Here,
power
words
politics,
hurt.
You can have a rabid dog and let him loose, and that's their purpose. But you also need a sane voice. This government has not been able to present a sane voice other than Imran himself, and sometimes he also comes with his double-barrel gun, right?
Okay.
So you need a sane voice to say, you know, we're sane, we know what we're talking about, we know what the future is. Here is a reconciliation. You were going to catch the crooks, but you don't do this so that the entire Punjab bureaucracy is on a pen-down strike. It really is a pen-down strike. Now, you know, there's less than 33% of the budget has actually been deployed, and then 9 months into the new budget.
Okay.
If
you are talking about this kind of dysfunction, if you think there's dysfunction, why will opposition not actually harvest it? Why will that not try to actually
because the
benefit
opposition
from
does, in my view, I completely agree with what's saying that there are three parties who can actually marshal forces. But I'm telling you, the People's Party and the PMLN do not have that kind of clout anymore, despite their seats. They will not be able to bring people out on the streets. People do not have an appetite to come and do this. Yes.
Why not? If they are affected by poverty or inflation or misgovernance,
you know, I have a strange hypothesis.
So.
And my hypothesis is that people are not as violent and they're not as stupid as we think. People are going to wait.
They're not stupid at all.
They're not stupid
But they
at
might
all.
be
You
violent.
know, people say there's going to be a price hike and people are going to come out and say, you know, I think people understand what are the challenges this government has faced. I think they're going to give them a little bit of time.
How much more?
I'd say maybe another 6 months. Okay. You know, a year from now, and if people do not see some solid evidence of good governance manifested, especially in the Punjab, you know, they're in trouble.
Dr. Ghori, you are an academic. Tell us, if this theory is correct, that people are very understanding, they're not going to agitate at all.
Well, we have not seen any surveys on that people are not going to agitate. But if you look at the genetic material of the workers of the PMLN, they are not made out of that cloth.
Okay. Genetic material.
Yes. They are, they are traders class,
okay.
usually, largely, which are supporting. If you look at Lahore overall scene, they may participate in 1 or 2 jalsas, but they will not come out in numbers and sit down on the streets. That needs a special kind of DNA.
Are we talking about merely Lahore, or we are talking about GT Road?
Of course, Lahore is the main part of that.
Yeah,
all the
but
processions
GT
have
Road is
started
there
from
also.
Lahore, and they have been. If you look at the movement that was created by PTI initially, the first dharna, and first they started the movement from Lahore. There were not a lot of numbers of people not coming with him. Then he came over to Islamabad and he gathered support here. So this is not in the DNA of the PMLN workers. I've never seen them doing like that. The second big party is the Pakistan People's Party. Yes, they have that ideological thing in their mindset, but they are largely focused in province of Sindh. Yes, they can do something in Sindh, in Karachi, particularly if they want to do that. But transporting them to Islamabad or to Lahore will be a huge, gigantic administrative cost.
Okay.
Now, linking this to the administrative machinery that you are running, You see, Mehdi Saab was very right in saying that when you say that if there are 100 birds sitting on a tree and you fire and kill one bird, mathematically 99 will remain, but economically none. So if you keep on thumping your chest, if you keep on saying this, that we will do that, we will do that, we will kill you, we will spot you.
No, who is thumping the chest?
Everybody in the government.
Like how?
Like everybody.
Like
I
how?
will catch you, I will drag you, I will throw you, I will not leave anybody.
They are stating their stated position, restating
No,
it.
we need the government to run in a stable environment.
Right.
This environment
That
is
means
not stable.
it-
Let me give you another
That means
perspective.
it should start compromising on its own
No.
principles.
Let me.
think so.
No, don't think so. You set the wheels of accountability in motion, and then do not speak loudly. Let them do their work.
But opposition keeps on building this narrative.
No, there's
Government
no
is
narrative.
victimizing them.
Because government keeps on talking about that.
Even if the government is
being
silent,
shown, government is being shown hand in glove with each other, with the accountability authorities. Government should stand alone. Government should say that, okay, NAB, at least NAB is independent in that sense.
It says that.
Let them do that. We have nothing to do with it.
You know,
Okay.
there's-
Let them
It
go
says
back.
that.
Let them go
you
back.
know, there's another sorry, please.
Sorry,
please
may I
continue.
complete my
Ji,
argument?
sorry.
So another point that is Mehdi Saab was pointing out is the FBR. Because of the slowdown on the economy, because around 50% of our revenue is collected through imports. Imports have definitely, this is one positive indicator in the economy, have definitely gone down. Because of that, those imports are not coming in, and the revenues are also not coming in. The slowdown in the economy has stopped out all the markets. Stock market is not working. All the other areas are not working. Hence, there is a sharp decline in revenue collection. Now, there is an immense pressure. I've been privy to some of the businessmen who have got great pressure from FPR. They have got series of notices.
Okay.
So there is an environment of fear in the market. Now, what the people are doing is, I'm giving you my personal example. I went to my bank, and whenever I go to the bank locker, there were hardly 1 or 2 persons were sitting. Just few days ago, when I visited my bank locker, there are 8 people in the waiting.
Okay.
What does it mean? That people
It
are...
means FBR is going to raid lockers now, right?
the people are resorting to keeping their money for a limited period in time. They are not getting into the market. Now here comes the another amnesty scheme.
Dr. Saab, with due respect, here's where you lose me. When you're saying the DNA of PMLN supporter or worker is such, they're traders essentially, and they're GT Road or perhaps Lahore, and their DNA is such that they are not going to agitate. On the other side, you're talking about all the indicators of economic distress. Why would anybody miss that? Why wouldn't they actually exploit
What I'm
it?
saying, they may agitate, but not in the agitation sense that you are talking about. Going to the street, sitting for the dharnas, long time there. They are businessmen. They may support this whole narrative, but they will not become the part of the process. They may fund them, these whole processes. They may support them. They may send some workers along. But the actual people, do you think the middle class, the white-collar middle class who is sitting in his shop and he wants to be recognized as a middle-class person, he will not come into the street. Look at all the dharnas. Who are the people who are coming in?
No, you forgot Long March of PMLN.
Which long march we are talking about?
Against
Restoration of judiciary.
Restoration of judiciary. What happened? It just only started and it finished at Gujranwala.
Because they got what they wanted.
Because I'm saying if they had been trying, because this is the similar kind of a class which PTI had also owned in Lahore. Okay. So similar kind of a class, they started their journey from Lahore, and you could remember the thunderstorm night when Imran Khan, who is not Prime Minister at that time, how many people were around him?
Well, Barrister Saab, here's a quick question regarding, since everybody is talking about DNA of workers and agitators and people of Pakistan, many people say Pakistan has never seen or India has never seen any revolution because people don't want to agitate. This is not in their DNA. The question at this moment is, do you see if the circumstances become very difficult, there might be some kind of alliance of the opposition or perhaps agitation at all, or you think that even if dollar is going to be 250, nobody is going to come on street. If things are going to be, God forbid, if things are going to be very expensive, even then nobody comes on the street.
Well, in my opinion, you see, political changes are always, I mean, there are many ways and different methodologies for creating or generating a mass movement against an established government. It doesn't have to be always the Iranian revolution or the communist revolution style, right? That hundreds and thousands of people march towards the capital and just lay siege to it, and then the government resigns. It doesn't have to be like that in every case. In Pakistan, at least insofar as the present government is concerned, all you have to do is just manage the number game in the parliament.
Yeah.
And you will create chaos within
But
the parliament.
they're managing it well.
They are managing it well because it's the initial inertia of coming into power, and then the slogans are still there and the promises are still there, and people still have hopes in the parliament. But once you keep annoying them, once you start the way the political alliance parties are getting upset,
Okay.
slowly, it will take time.
So
And
you foresee a palace intrigue, but you don't see any kind of agitation
I also
at all.
see that as well, but
Okay.
all these factors will probably converge. There will be a multitude of factors and reasons, and all of them will probably converge in order to create serious problems for them.
Yeah.
However, there is a way to manage all this.
Okay.
I believe there's no
Sweet
doubt
talk?
that
Sweet talk?
sweet talk is one way of managing it. That solves lots of your problems.
Okay.
Even with your wife as well, if you have problems.
Wife, that might work,
but
not with the opposition.
But also, there is my understanding is that the government lacks political way of handling things. They do not have that capability. A few of the ministers are very good at creating more problems and headaches for Imran Khan rather than resolving those issues.
Okay.
And therefore, I think that the cumulative effect of all this, these are slow, small incidents which will have a cumulative effect in the end, and then things will go out of control.
Okay, that is a big concern. Haider Mehdi Sahab, here's the question. When Pakistani economy is already leveraged, right? Whatever the government could get out of it is getting out of it. There are taxes and there are other issues. On the other side, now you're going to IMF and they are going to demand you to further, do stuff that is going to increase inflation, perhaps make life more difficult for people. At that time, is it not important for IMF and institutions like IMF to take into cognizance that reality that if you further tighten the screws,
There's going to be social upheaval.
there might be chaos?
So great question. So I think from what I read in the numbers, I think 80% of the IMF job has already been done.
Okay.
The rupee devaluation, the rise in interest rates, the removal of the subsidy, there's some more to go. But I think the worst, I hope I'm right, I think the worst is over. I mean, the biggest chunk, the hit that we had to take, were taken. We were talking about, and Barrister Saab, said that, the thing in the parliament and they just have to tweak the numbers. He's absolutely right. My view is that this is not a threat. Okay. Honestly, I do not see that as a threat. I think that is not going to happen. Okay. There are people on the other side of on the divide who are sitting in the opposition benches. They also know which side their bread is buttered. They're not going to take any stupid decision knowing that there is no future for Nawaz or Zardari. Okay. You can take it from me. I don't want to say it's the gospel truth or 100% because I don't know. But I can tell you these guys are not going to get away one way or the other. There's going to be no NRO. Okay. There is no Shahbaz waiting in the sidelines to be kept as a maid in waiting. But the vast majority of the nation realizes that this small bunch of plutocrats and kleptocrats that I keep talking about, who have plundered and looted this country and destroyed institutions, we've gotten rid of them. There are hopes from Imran, and everyone's saying, okay, when are you going to deliver? We're still waiting, we're still waiting. Yep. The ball is all in Imran's court.
So are you telling me, because these plutocrats you talk about, they are heading parties as well, and there are two major parties which are attached to them. Are you telling me when you say Asif Ali Zardari, Nawaz Sharif or Sharif family have no future, are you talking about their parties too?
Well, here's what the party is. This is the same bunch of people, and by the way, they're also in PTI. They're the same bunch of people who were there before partition. When partition happened, they occupied seats. Their party is the only party in the history of Pakistan, an urban party, which developed grassroots. Now they've become, I don't want to say they became fascist, but they have developed fascist-like things. But they're the only exception. All these people, every single one of them, whether he's in the People's Party or she's in the PTI or they're part of the same group. So here's my view.
No, I have to build up to it.
Yeah.
There's a further question. Okay. Are we talking about one-party system then?
I don't think so. I don't think we are going, but I think we're going for a system where this is my projection. I think our electoral and our governance system is in for a change.
Okay. What kind of change?
So I think we need a system which will allow technocrats, experts, subject matter specialists to come into positions of power and policy making. Now people talk about
You're talking about presidential
No, we're
system.
not. I'm talking about the rules. No, I'm talking about a very simple. Do you know even today your grade 22 officer can actually be hired directly from the civilian sector?
Okay.
It's in the law.
Okay.
All they have to do is to make a small change in the rules of business which says 33% of cabinet positions or 40% of the cabinet positions will be filled by non-elected members.
But sir, with due respect, let me go to Dr. Hori, because the last bit that he mentioned, you have to answer that as well. You have experience of bureaucracy. Because in Pakistan, experiment never ends. After 73 years, we are then debating whether we are going to have a presidential system, one-party system, or parliamentary system. Regarding bureaucracy, kindly answer that.
Well, Pakistan is one of those countries which is perhaps the most experimented upon.
Yeah.
I'm not against the presidential system because it's again a kind of a democracy which is being exercised in many countries, including the United States of America. It's a kind of a representation of the people who want to represent themselves in a certain way.
Yeah.
And they have their own representative. But as regards the bureaucracy is concerned, this boils down the whole governance system that we are talking about. This governance system that we inherited from the British has lived long. I think it is already dying away, crumbling. It is not going to support them. We are living in a world of new public management.
Okay.
This new public management was implemented in Turkey. This new public management with certain different shades were implemented in Malaysia. And somehow they are implementing in India and Bangladesh as well. We have our own personal dynamic issues of our society, of our people, of our HR that we are living with. So we have to have certain areas of dynamism in some areas. I'm happy to see that, the good things also about the government, that they have now almost finalized their discussion on the new local government system in Pakistan, because it is there where the problem needs to be resolved.
You're talking about grassroots levels.
No,
He's talking about, you know, grade 22 people.
So grade 22 people can
Daniel
be
Daniel Aziz, when he was heading NRB and then later on as well, he used to say you have to do away with, you know, grade 21 and 22. After that, you will have provincial empowerment. Otherwise, you'll have the federal pool that will keep on dominating it.
That's what is actually happening. But all the problems, all the governance problems are basically local. Whether you are talking about education, you are talking about health, you are talking about revenue, transport, anything related to that. The federal government relates to policy making, the bigger governance areas, the larger things, the strategic matters. The local matters bring up to the provincial level and then the federal level. The problem with the 18th Amendment was that the fruits of that devolution were not transported down to the ground
to the district government.
To the district government level.
So
that district government level or the district governance that needs to be strengthened. Now, I give you an idea. You see, this Prime Minister portal on these applications of the complaints, it is there. More than 300,000 applications, I hope somebody is listening in the government, are there. So it is a huge data gold mine. It will tell you how many people have complained against.
What
about, from where, so we can boil down to, bring down to 5 main areas and start one pilot project to be working maybe in Lahore, Kasoor, Ukada,
which is, by the way, what they're doing,
Dr.
Which is what they're going to be doing with that data.
I'm not privy to that, but I'm not sure at the moment they're doing it or not. So we can go straight down there and start showing the governance problems.
And do what?
Addressing those problems. Addressing those problems.
No, for example, my complaint is I have a home that has been taken over by somebody. So I've lodged a complaint.
Yeah, it is a police problem.
Yeah.
It is a police problem.
And maybe it's a law problem.
You're saying that you're going to take one pilot project and do away with the entire structure and create a new one.
No. I'm not saying that. That's a long debate.
Police is different, sewerage is different, economy is different.
I'm not saying that. That's a long debate. If
No,
you want,
you're
I want to get into that.
Just to understand what you're saying,
I'm
how
saying
to
is,
use the data.
For example, we are saying that most of the applications of revenue are coming from Okada district, for example.
They're not.
For example. So if you can focus on them, if you are, I'm from Okada, so I can say that.
You will say that, right?
So if they are coming from Okada district and revenue problem, we have to see that what are the areas? Are there three basic? Usually when you talk about the people's performance, we talk about their motivation, they talk about understanding, and they talk about communication. All rest areas are peripheral. So people don't want to solve the problem, people don't have the motivation, and people don't have the skills. So if you target one area in one particular segment of problem, then you can start showing the results. You could have seen that some of the deputy commissioners have started doing it in some areas, and they started using technology, and the people were raising about that. 2 of them were hired by the UN that you have done something great.
Right.
So these are the areas that we can focus and start showing the governance. But again, the main governance problem in Punjab is, of course, as he has pointed out, is the Chief Minister. He does not.
I mean, if the Prime Minister is satisfied, if his party is satisfied, what can we do? You want to add to what was said, sir?
I just want to make
then
one
I have to
comment.
go back to Barrister.
I just want to make one comment. And my comment is I want to refer to, I'm going to pass my turn. He has the best insight about local government in General Musharraf. I'd like to hear his views about how it was implemented and why was it so successful in
And
the time.
will you permit me to add to that question?
Please.
Dr. Saab, why does it feel that we keep on fixing the system, and every time we do so, we keep on dismantling it, making the country more ungovernable, rather than realizing that there might be some problem with the people who are running the system, not the system itself?
Well, I believe, you see, we are trying usually.
Barrister Saab, please first,
sir.
why was it so successful in General Musharraf's?
Yeah, I'm coming to that. That is part of what my response, but you see, when we try to address the system or to, as you said, change the system, repair it, we simply do the repair work. We don't address the design problems in the system. There are design flaws, there are systemic flaws, there are fundamental defects in that system which you need to address and reform. Number one. Number two, when you are trying to, in any system of governance, when you try to make reforms, you do not just change the infrastructure, you also change the superstructure. Right? Both of them needs to be reformed simultaneously in order to give results, number one. And number two. Number three, the problem with us is in Pakistan that our system is fashioned or modeled on British parliamentary system.
Right.
But what Britain did in the course of time, that their parliamentary system first was the poll electoral system. It actually helped in transforming their feudal society into a democratic society, into a capitalist society. In our case, our parliamentary democratic system, in fact, strengthened our feudal system. Right? So it was a reverse process undertaken by this system. Now, what was the solution? Politically, in political science, my understanding is that the solution was to improve your local body system. Improve that system.
With you on that.
What that would do, that improvement, would actually break the feudal stranglehold in local areas, let new leadership emerge, and that leadership will actually perform. Their success will be based on their performance, not on their lineage and not on their ancestry and this and that. The problem is that we have not addressed that. Number one, with local body system, we have been experimenting. We are only trying, whenever we have tried it, we have always tried to introduce it, but in order to be controlled by in such a way that it is controlled by the federal, the provincial as well as the federal government. Like look at the case in Karachi now. We do not have, we have a Baldiyati system, a local body system, but there is no funding available because the funding comes from this, provincial government. Now,
And they are not going to give
Similarly, similar situation is in KPK.
So why was it successful previously?
It was because, you know, again, in case of
whether
Parvez
it
Musharraf's time,
was successful or not, I'm
no,
told
but
that
it
we are
delivered
running
to some
short of time.
extent. And if you can,
But
if
there's
there is
lessons
any,
to be learned
if
from.
there is any good example, at
Sir.
least
Yeah.
that was during that time, right, of local
But
body
it
success.
didn't build the
Sir,
new
but there
leadership.
no, but
did
that's
it?
what I'm coming to, because at that time also you did not reform the super and the infrastructure of
So
the
they
society.
did away with it.
It was just a one man's efforts and his policies, and the moment you removed him, everything just vanished. So
on
you need to
that,
change the system, not just faces and personalities.
On that
That's what-
insightful comment, Barrister Saab, I'm told that we have to conclude the program. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Haider Mehdi Saab, thank you very much for your time as well. Dr. Zubair Hori, thank you very much for your contribution as well. Viewers, you have listened to the participants. As I keep on saying, that there are many models that have worked in other countries. For example, we kept on hearing that China built its economy through development. But when we actually invest in infrastructure in this country, it becomes contentious. When we do so in human resource development, that again becomes contentious. Is it merely because we have capacity issues, whether we have imagination issues or something else? We perhaps need a group think. Without group rethink, maybe situation will keep on lingering on. And while we talk about all these matters, we have to remember where we started: agitation or no agitation. The world, when it is watching, has to take into cognizance. Pakistan is under a lot of stress already, that it should be actually helping out rather than imposing more demands. This was today's program. Thank you very much for watching us. Take care.